Well, hello, and welcome to the Stitchery. My name's Jane, and I'm an artist based in the middle of Scotland. And I thought that what I would do is make it a little bit different this week. Tomorrow, I have an exhibition is opening that I have some work in. It's called Of the Land, and it's part of Forth Valley Art Beat, and I'm exhibiting alongside Ailey Weir of All That Is Brought. She's an amazing quilt maker. Kevin Harrison has been doing some experiments with nettle ink and has drawings in the exhibition. There is artist charcoal that is made by Green Aspirations and works with that charcoal. So it's a really lovely kind of group of artists who are all working in some ways in response to the land where they live, and everybody is fairly local. What I have found is that this is exciting, it's just brilliant, but as a self-taught artist, it's been bringing up a whole load of things. So about what is an artist? Am I an artist? Who am I to say that I am an artist? So I thought it would be really interesting to just film bits in the run-up to the exhibition. Because I think that probably there are lots of people out there who maybe were discouraged, as I was at school, from doing anything creative and have come back to it in a later part of their lives. So I'm hoping that in the film that follows this, there'll be a lot to relate to. And hopefully, by the time this actually goes edited and goes out, the whole exhibition will be hung, and I will be over there doing the flowers for the private view. Fingers crossed. So it's a week until I have an exhibition, and part of me is excited and part of me is convinced that everything I have made for this, everything I've selected from my kind of back catalogue, is just awful and terrible, and that it's going to be a big disaster. Realistically, I know that is unlikely to be true. People don't tend to go to art exhibitions, small art exhibitions anyway, and laugh at everything that's put up. It's, just one of these things that your brain, my brain, is saying so that I will not put myself at any emotional risk. So there we go, a week to go. So in this fit last night of hating absolutely everything that I had made, I unpicked one of the pieces that was almost finished. So now I'm going to go and sort of start remaking that. It is going to be much better than it was. I do prefer the way it's looking now, but it has given me a lot of work quite close to the deadline. So this piece that I am embroidering at the moment, it's dogwood leaves that are printed onto this using the heat press, and each of the dogwood leaves has got a halo and isn't as defined as I would ideally like. And part of that is that I'm experimenting, and part of it is that I am embroidering onto a very, very old damask tablecloth that has been handed down the generations in my family. I remember, I've got such clear memories of Sunday lunch at my grand's, and we would drive down from Edinburgh down to Northumberland, and I'm pretty sure that my gran would have had the cabbage in the pan when we set off 3 hours earlier. And lunch, it was one of those things, there was tables were put together and it was an odd assortment of chairs, and all of the furniture would be cleared from the living room because it was a special occasion that we had come down. And there was always a white tablecloth. Now, I don't know whether this tablecloth that I have cut up into this was one of those. It was certainly a one that has lots of holes and it shreds really, really easily. But it also, you know, in my mind, this is that childhood tablecloth. But because it has that softness and open weave, what has happened is that the colour has bled. And the next time I do this, I'm going to try sizing it with something like maybe soy milk, maybe because this exhibition is on a farm where they have goats, I might try some goat milk. That may be very successful, or it may be a great disaster. Who knows? We will find out. But anyway, I'm going to continue to stitch this and put it all back together and hope that I like it a bit more at the end of the day. So this is the piece, and the thing that I think is making me really anxious is that I decided what I wanted to do is to really showcase experimentation in this exhibition, and to show things that hadn't worked as well as things that had. So in developing the old heat press as a way of doing botanical printing, a lot of things, you know, don't work brilliantly, and there are things that I need to tweak. But I think that that's really the interesting bit of it all. This is where we are with the things for the exhibition. So framed items came back. This is birch leaves applique, and then down here I have two other small appliques, and then these three leaf works, the finished and the not quite finished things. Obviously these aren't framers, so I've got a little bit more time for them. This is the one that I had unpicked and then have reworked, and I much prefer it now. You can't see it. It's really difficult to photograph these when they're horizontal. For some reason they just don't photograph up. And then I have things that I want to exhibit in some way, and I'm off to talk to Kevin, who's the curator, to see how we can do that. So I have my blanket, which is all of the different wools which I did over the 2 years, and then this quilt, which is plant dyed fabric and very, very detailed quilting. So anyway, I'm about to pack these up and head off to Garter, which is about a 20-minute drive, and have a talk with Kevin.